Good morning, students. We are back with another chapter, chapter 10th, One Friday Morning, written by Langston Hughes. So, children, we all want to be treated equal and have same rights, but what happens when someone is not treated properly because of their skin color? So, this story is about an African girl Nancy Lee Johnson, who moved to America with her parents for her better life. She is very talented and denied scholarship because of her skin color. Now, children, sadly, there are some people in the world who are blinded by body color or race and forget how world is a place for everyone. So let us go through the summary first. One Friday morning. This is a touching story about an African American schoolgirl who is denied the Artist Club award only because she is colored. Miss O'Shea, the vice principal of the school, sends for Nancy Lee Johnson to give her a piece of good news. At that point, Miss Dietrich enters and tells Nancy that she has won the Artist Club award for her painting. Nancy is so overwhelmed that she weeps for joy. Miss O'Shea asks Nancy to calmly prepare her acceptance speech for Friday when her award would be announced at the assembly. Nancy decides to touch on 3 points, thanking those who had given her the award, elaborating on the plight of colored people in the country, and on the fact that she would be representing her race in receiving the award and affirming her belief that America is a land of opportunity for all as it is fair and just. On Friday, when Nancy enters her room, Miss O'Shea tells her the committee has decided to withhold the award as Nancy is a colored girl. Miss O'Shea asks Nancy not to lose heart, and Nancy learns to take her disappointment in her stride. She wants to fight for the rights of her people when she is older, with people like Miss O'Shea supporting her. So, the lesson and the explanation. Nancy Lee Johnson is an African whose family has moved to America from Africa many years ago. In school, encouraged by her art teacher, Miss Dietrich, Nancy Lee excels at drawing. One of her best pictures has been entered in a contest and everyone expects her to win. She does. She wins the well-known Artist Club award. Read on to find out. So, Nancy Lee is an African girl who has moved from Africa with her parents for hoping for a better future in country like America. So, there with an there with an encouragement of her art teacher, Miss Dietrich, Nancy Lee, she is very talented girl and she excels in drawing, and one of her best pictures has been entered in a contest and everyone is expects her to win. Now, let us read further to understand the story. One wet, rainy April afternoon, Miss O'Shea, the vice principal, sent for Nancy Lee. Soon, Nancy Lee knocked on Miss O'Shea's door. The familiar voice said, "Come in, sit down, Nancy Lee Johnson," said Miss O'Shea. "I have something to tell you." Nancy Lee sat down. "You have been an excellent student, Nancy, as I'm sure you know," began Miss O'Shea. At that point, there was a light knock on the door. Miss O'Shea called out, "Come in," and Miss Dietrich entered. "May I be part of this too?" she asked, tall and smiling. "Of course," Miss O'Shea said. "I was just telling Nancy Lee what we thought of her, but I haven't yet given her the news. Perhaps, Miss Dietrich, you would like to tell her yourself." Miss Dietrich was always direct. "Nancy Lee," she said, "your picture has won the Artist Club award." The slender Brown girl's eyes widened and her heart jumped. She tried to smile, but instead tear came to her eyes. Dear Nancy Lee, Miss O'Shea said, we are so happy for you. The elderly white woman shook her hand warmly while Miss Dietrich beamed with pride. Now, why was a young girl had tears in her eyes on hearing a good news? Before we ponder on that, let me explain to you. So, in this opening sequence, Miss O'Shea, the vice principal of a school, called Nancy in her office and praised her for being a very good student. Soon, Miss Dietrich also entered the office and joined the conversation. She informed Nancy that she had won an Artist Club award for painting a beautiful picture. On hearing the news, Nancy was overjoyed. She was so happy that she was unable to control her emotions, and instead of smiling, her eyes were filled with tears of joy. Nancy's vice principal, an old white woman, was happy at her achievement, and Miss Dietrich was also very proud of Nancy. Now let us read further to understand the story better. Miss O'Shea had called Nancy Lee to the office both to prepare her and warm her. In making her acceptance speech, the vice principal wanted Nancy Lee to be calm and prepared. So Nancy Lee was asked to think about what she would say at the Friday morning assembly hour when the announcement would be made. Nancy Lee promised the vice principal to think calmly about what she would say. Now, the explanation of this paragraph. So, now in this paragraph, Nancy Lee would be receiving the award in front of the whole school. So, so they wanted that she should prepare for a better speech or an acceptance speech. So, the meaning of acceptance speech, a speech made to thank people and show how grateful you are for being given an award, honor, and so on. So, Nancy Lee was going to get that award at that Friday morning assembly, and so that is why she wanted her to prepare a good acceptance speech. Now, come to the next paragraph. Soon Friday morning came. The night before, Nancy Lee had gone to bed thinking about the next day. Her short speech was ready and she went over it in her mind. When the president of the Artist Club presented her with the award, she planned to say, Judges and members of the Artist Club, I want to thank you for this award. It means so much to me. The colored people of this city are sometimes discouraged, thinking that color and poverty are against them. I accept this award not for myself alone, but for my race. We believe in America, we believe in its opportunity and fairness. So, the night before her speech or the night before her day of getting the award, Nancy Lee, she was thinking about her speech and she was going over it in her mind. Went over in her mind. Now, went over in her mind means learned it so that she could repeat it herself. Before going to bed, she had been rehearsing her speech and she really wanted to represent her race. Now, colored means describes a person who does not have white skin. The term is usually not one of respect and is no longer expected as a way of describing non-white people. Discouraged means made to feel less confident about themselves. Race, a group of people who have the same skin color and share the same language, history, culture, and so on. And the fairness, a situation in which people are treated the same or equally in spite of the difference in race, color of the skin, and so on. So now, children, this speech is very touching as well as it is an eye opener also. So Nancy, she realized the problem were faced by the people and she was trying to give them hope with her speech, and she accepted the award on sorry and she accepted the award on behalf of all of them. She further decided to thank everyone at school. Now come to the next paragraph. I thank Miss Dietrich and the teachers who gave me the knowledge and training to win this award. When I came to this school a few years ago, you received me well. You have given me a chance and helped me along the road I wanted to follow. Thus, Nancy Lee went to sleep dreaming a wonderful tomorrow. At school on Friday morning, Nancy Lee was asked to see Miss O'Shea in her office again. Soon after, Nancy Lee knocked at Miss O'Shea's door. Come in, came Miss O'Shea's voice. The vice principal stood at her desk. There was no one else in the room. So, while rehearsing for her speech, she went to sleep and she was dreaming a wonderful tomorrow. How she would be happy the other day and how her speech it would show how America is so great in treating color people also equally. So next day when she came to school, she was asked by Miss O'Shea to see her in her office again. Miss O'Shea stood at her desk and there was no one else in the room. Now come to the next paragraph. Sit down, Nancy Lee, she said. Miss O'Shea did not smile. There was a long pause. I do not know how to tell you what I have to say, the elderly woman began. I am ashamed for myself and for the city. Then she lifted her eyes and looked at Nancy Lee in the neat blue dress sitting there before her. You are not to receive the award this morning. Outside the electric bells rang. Loud and long, Miss O'Shea remained silent. Then she said, when the committee learned that you were colored, they changed their plans. Nancy Lee said nothing. Nancy Lee said nothing. So now she was now she was telling in her speech that America is a land of opportunity and fairness, and how now the people of committee they had proved that they were so much wise, and people of that they did not give the award to Nancy Lee because when they came to know that she was colored, so they withdraw that entry. Come to the next paragraph. Nancy Lee, I am very sorry to have to give you this message, but my speech, Nancy Lee said, was about the word stuck in her throat about America. Miss O'Shea had risen and stood looking out of the window. I know, said Miss O'Shea, slowly facing the room again. Those who deny you this award do not know the meaning of the star in a flag, but it's up to us to make them know. As a teacher, I will go before the school board and ask them to remove the offer of any prizes or awards denied to any student because of race or color. So Nancy Lee, she was very sad, and because of that, she was not able to speak. She said that her speech was about how America is pleased for fear, but now it is very ironic because she had been denied because she is colored. So Miss O'Shea, she just stood up and was looking outside the window and said, those who had denied you this award, they really don't know the stars in our flag. These people they really did not know what the stars in the American flag meant. She decided that she would go before the school board and ask them to remove the offer of any prizes to any students. Now the next. Miss O'Shea's clear blue eye looked into those of the girl before her. The women's eyes were full of strength and courage. Lift up your head, Nancy Lee, and smile at me, Miss O'Shea said. Nancy Lee lifted her head and smiled. The bell for assembly rang. She went through the long hall toward the auditorium. There will be other awards, Nancy Lee thought. There are schools in other cities. This won't keep me down, but when I am a woman, I will fight to see that these things don't happen to other girls as this has happened to me. And men and women like Miss O'Shea will help me. Now, the explanation of this paragraph. So, Miss O'Shea, she told her that she should not feel rejected by such narrow mindedness and rather she should lift up her head and smile. So, Nancy Lee, she was filled up with all this courage and strength by the words of Miss O'Shea, and she thought to herself that if she did not get this award, so what? This would not be let her feel defeated and fight for people. So, children, you can see how this decision did not break Nancy's spirit and it inspired her to strive for her equality and right. So, children, uh, the author's message is that the America of 1940s, when the story was written, was far from the society of American dream of equality of all, and this idea was an ideal concept. But through the character of Miss O'Shea and Nancy Lee, made an appeal that people can raise their voice against such injustice and bring a change. So I hope you like this chapter. Thank you, children.